Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at how I did on the 8-horse Mogul piston fabrication process. It was a lot of hours. I got over 100 hours in that piston. It's quite an undertaking and a lot of machining and a lot of expansion of knowledge on my part. Pretty pleased with it. We're going to go through and grade each part of it, each function of it. A little bit about this piston. The blank that we started with was 45 pounds pour weight, and the piston ended up being 25 pounds. So I ended up machining 20 pounds off of the piston. That was kind of planned because I oversized the casting. I did that so that I had plenty of material to take off to get into homogeneous material in the casting for sure there. So it was 5/8 of an inch oversize on the diameter, and then it was about 3/4 of an inch longer than it needed to be. So a lot of machining, took 20 pounds of material off. So let's zoom in on this piston and get to grading it. So here we are zoomed in on the piston. This is the blank. This is one of the 3 blanks I had made, 45 pounds pour weight. And it is hollow. We did a core box, and this is all hollow in here. So it's not a solid piece, but it is 45 pounds. There's one of the rings that I purchased for this piston as well. So the piston is 10 1/4 inches long in this axis here, and it's almost 6 inches in diameter. This blank is about 11 inches long and 6 5/8 in diameter. So I had quite a bit of material to take off, but that was by design. And so let's get into grading this thing. First of all, the first function that we did was we turned this OD here on the diameter of the piston, this dimension here, and we turned that 9 thousandths under 6 inches. The bore of this engine is 6 inches, and I wanted to be 9 thousandths of an inch under that. So 5.991 is what the dimension was that I was looking for on this this diameter of this piston. That gave me enough clearance for the expansion of the engine when it gets hot, so it doesn't seize the piston up. And I give myself an A on that one because I hit the dimension exactly. I only had 2 10,000ths of a run out over this dimension here. So I was quite pleased with that. So I give myself an A on that function. The next feature was the rings. There's 4 rings for compression, and then 1 ring down here at the bottom. And that's most likely an oil retention ring, or just keeps the piston from wanting to wobble and slap in the bore. So these rings, they fit in here like this. I got a good fit on that. I wanted about 1,000ths clearance on the ring width, and I hit that on all of them. I wasn't comfortable with the tooling that I needed for that, and I got a little bit of chatter on the bottom here, so I'll give myself a B on the ring grooves. They'll be fine. They're just not real pretty, so we'll give myself a B on that one. The wrist pin bosses, turning these wrist pin bosses in here was quite difficult. I struggled with that greatly. I had to really rely on a good friend of mine. He's an avid collector and a good friend, and I used him extensively on this. He's also got a lot of machining experience, and I really relied on him for that feature because I just didn't have a comfort level with that. So I'll give myself a C on that just because I wasn't able to do it all myself. I think moving forward I could now, so I think I did learn on that, but we'll go with a C on that feature. The next is these bronzes. There's two bronze, one on each side. They're inserts. They're actually what is the wear item that the wrist pin runs on. Give myself a B on that. Again, because I needed some help with the pins, the locking pins and the boring of them as well, and I just wasn't comfortable with that aspect. But dimensionally and stuff, they turned out really well, but I'm just going to give myself a B on that. The next feature is this oil groove, and that turned out really well. Used the rotary table for that, and I was pleased with that, so I'll give myself an A on that. The last feature was this taper on the nose of the piston. It's a 50-degree taper, and my finish isn't real perfect on it. It doesn't really matter, but I had to manually feed the compound. I wasn't able to power feed that. So I'll go ahead and give myself an A on that, just because it turned out good, and I was really nervous doing that because I was taking this square surface here and turning it down at an angle, and I was just really scared I was going to end up breaking through, that I had my dimensions wrong, so I double and triple checked it, but it turned out really well. So anyway, that's kind of the grading that I did on this. I used a 4-point system, which is what most of us went through school enduring, where an A is a 4 points, B is a 3, C is a 2, D is a 1, F is a 0. So when you add up all the grades and divide them out, I come out to a 3.3 grade average on this piston, which is a B, B minus maybe. I'll probably go with a B. I'm pretty pleased with how it worked, and I'll bump that to a B plus if it actually goes in the machine, the engine, and works in there as well as I suspect it will. So there we go. So I'm giving myself a B on this piston. Let me know in the comments what you think the grade should be. Be interested in knowing that. Moving forward, the next thing that we'll be doing is I've got a piece of 1144 stress proof chucked up on the closing lathe, and we'll be turning the wrist pin. I have used a reamer, 1.25" reamer on these bronze inserts, and that was another reason that I gave myself a C on this whole wrist pin boss arrangement, is because on the bronzes, I undersized the bore, the inside bore, by 0.010 on purpose, because I wasn't sure how good I was going to have alignment, and I wanted plenty of material to take off, and that is just too much to take out with a hand reamer, especially a reamer of that size. So that was quite difficult. Moving forward, I think on the next piston I'll only do 2 to 3 thousandths undersized. That'll make that reaming process a lot better, because as it turned out, it was spot on. They were dialed in great. The super spacer did a great job indexing that, so no worries there. So next video we'll be making the wrist pin and doing a little more painting on the base and the cylinder, so that I can take that and get it pinstriped. So if you tuned into this channel to watch machining, we'll probably be doing a little more machining, and then it'll be back to restoration. But don't leave, don't abandon me, because we'll have other machining to do here and there. There's quite a bit of other machining. I have a whole nother 8-horse Mogul that requires a lot of machining that I will get to round to it one of these days. So stay tuned to the channel, like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and leave me a comment. I love reading the comments and talking to you people. So anyway, that's all I got today, and thanks for tuning in.